Hi everybody and welcome to It's Me, Shri, where I show you how to grow your own food and get the most out of your garden space. Today we're going to chat about all things tomatoes. Tomatoes are one of my absolutely favorite things to grow. You can grow so many varieties. It's one of the foods that's easiest to preserve because there are so many methods. And if you're a beginner gardener, you are going to have success. They make you feel really good as though you did something magical and that you have the strongest green thumb ever. It's where I started my veggie growing journey, and so I'm really excited to share some tips and tricks with you so that you can hopefully have a very successful tomato harvest. Today, we're going to chat through the types of tomatoes, how to plant them, and then things to look out for as they're growing. So maintenance tips, pruning, things like that. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first thing that we're going to want to take a look at is the type of tomato. This is going to determine if you're going to grow your tomatoes up on a vine or on a trellis like this with some support, or if you just need a tomato cage because they're going to go smaller. So the two types of tomatoes that we have are one, determinate, and then two, indeterminate. Determinate is a tomato type that I really recommend if you have a small space. So you're looking at a potted garden or something you want to grow maybe on your patio. If you don't have a lot of space, Determinate is the right variety for you. These are smaller, bushier tomato plants. They do great with just a tomato cage. They produce the same amount of volume that you're going to get with Indeterminate if you're looking for just enough to fill your kitchen and make you feel good. Okay, so those are the ones that I really recommend if you're short on garden space. Indeterminate are the tomato varieties that grow on the vine. So that's what I'm going to grow here on this trellis. That'll go all the way up. These varieties are the ones that tend to be heirloom varieties as well. They're going to give you lots of fruit. Usually the bigger, juicier tomatoes are the ones that are indeterminate variety. So if you're looking to grow some big, hefty tomatoes, it's most likely going to be an indeterminate plant. I recommend that plant with support. They're going to vine all the way up. They're going to take up a lot of your garden, and they are going to require a little bit more maintenance. So that's just something to keep in mind. This variety, hiding behind the snapdragon and eggplant, this is going to be a determinate tomato plant. You can kind of tell by the leaves here once you compare it to the indeterminate variety. I think that the leaves tend to be also darker in color from my experience, just what I've seen pattern wise. But you can see it's a little bit shorter. The stem is a little stockier. The leaves have more structure. They have less gapping in between each little frond on the leaf as well. These tend to be smaller cherry tomato type varieties. You can see some flowers growing on this one right over here. I'm excited to see what those do. So this one back here is actually an indeterminate variety, and you can tell because look at how much skinnier and taller this guy is. So he goes all the way from the soil. I planted them at the same time, same growth pattern. We got much bigger gaps between the fronds. You can also see a little sucker right there, and we'll talk more about that later. And then if you look at the top, he has flowers too. It's a little bit lighter of a green, but you see how much bigger his leaves are? It's almost the size of my entire glove. He's gonna start vining all the way through this trellis, whereas this guy right next to him, this determinate variety, is gonna probably fill up to about here. So determinate varieties are gonna grow about 3 feet tall, maybe, yeah, three really, 2.5 to 3 feet tall. Indeterminate varieties can get anywhere between 8 to 10 feet tall because they're just continuously growing, they're continuously vining. The indeterminate ones are the ones that also get really affected by heat. You're going to want to heavily prune, and I'll show you what that looks like a little bit, and we'll also chat through suckers and then how to actually plant your tomatoes once you had your seedlings. So let's go ahead and move on to that. So in between what is the main stem is a tiny little frond up here, and that's called your sucker. All suckers, majority of suckers, are gonna provide you your fruit. So if you're looking for lots of fruit, you're gonna wanna prune the leaf underneath it to give more energy to this sucker here. You'll see them as they vine up. This one is an indeterminate tomato. As they vine up, more and more suckers are going to form. So I'm going to eventually prune this guy off, just like that. Same with this one, just like that, to make space for energy to go to these guys because I'm looking for lots of fruit. When you plant your tomatoes, you're going to want to plant them deep. Tomatoes love being planted about 6 inches to 8 inches deep. However long your stem is, the deeper you plant it, the stronger your tomato is going to be. And that's because tomatoes on the stem have little nodes that encourage root development. So if you put it in the ground, chances are it's going to start to root all up on that stem, which is what you want. Stronger root development, stronger plant, more fruit. So I'll show you what that looks like. There are a couple other ways to plant your tomatoes too. A lot of folks like to plant them horizontally. So if this is my tomato stem, I'm planting it horizontally with the leaves and fronds up like this. That's to encourage root growth all along the stem this way. I have experimented with this and I have one that I've done, so I'm excited to show you because you can see some of the root development closer to the actual leaves and where the fruit is going to show up. So I'll show you what that looks like. This is one of those tomatoes. You can see I grew sideways like that. So I've planted him. This is the base of his plant and laid him sideways, and then he goes vertically down like that. But if I were to slightly pull up, you see those two? Don't want to bother him too much, but these are roots. If you zoom in a little closer, this is a root coming up from really high up on the tomato plant. I'm just gonna give him back to the earth so he can continue doing his thing. Give you some extra love. But yeah, so tomatoes grow roots from pretty much everywhere. He's gonna have a really strong support system. This is a Roma variety, so I'm really excited. Romas can be very temperamental with growing. They like consistent watering schedules. They like consistent temperatures. So we'll see how this guy does in our weather. But yeah, I just wanted to show you how roots grow directly on the tomato stem, which is super interesting. And this is compared to his friend, where you can see we have a leaf down here, his sucker up here. This is what's going to give me the fruit that I want. So eventually, if I wanted to prune this guy off, I can just snap it down like that. You can toss that to the side, and then that's going to direct all the energy to this sucker here, and it'll be the way all the way up our tomato plant, just like that. So you can see this Indeterminate variety here is already maybe about just under 2 feet tall for this trellis, compared to some of these Determinate varieties, which are still sitting at just under a foot. I like the Determinate varieties. I think that they're really cute. They fill up the garden bed really nicely too. They always look lush and pretty. Indeterminate varieties tend to be a little bit more viney, a little bit more stringy. So it's really the look that you're trying to go for. I'm trying to achieve both. I want lots of tomatoes, but I also want to fill up my entire trellis that you see behind me. I want tomatoes going all the way up and around. So I need the Indeterminate variety because I'm trying to fill up my trellis, get that beautiful garden view, and then hopefully tons of cherry tomatoes and some of those bigger tomatoes as well. So I'm excited to see how my tomatoes do this season. The other thing that I kind of wanted to walk you through is in another episode, we've chatted about fertilizer. Tomatoes love fertilizer, so you're really going to want to make sure that you're fertilizing every 1 to 2 weeks. You can use a liquid fertilizer, you can use a tomato-specific fertilizer. Don't forget to use all organic. If we're going to try and eat the stuff that we're growing, we want to make sure that what we're putting on our vegetables are as chemical-free as possible. So that's the other tip that I would give you. All right, everybody, so that is a wrap on our tomato episode. I am a self-declared tomato girly, so if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. These are my favorite things to grow. I have maybe 10 to 15 different varieties that I try and test out every single year, so I'm really excited to kind of show you the progress, follow along for more. And the last thing I'll say is I lost my glove. So are you even a gardener if halfway through gardening you don't know where you put your other glove? I don't know. I wish that you have the same problem soon because it means you're out there in the garden having a good time. And if you forgive me, I will leave to go find my gloves. Okay, I'll see you next time on It's Me, Shri. Bye.